Cast your mind back a few years. John F. Kennedy has just been elected President of the United States. A secure wall is being built to divide East and West Germany. On the home front, aspiring politician Margaret Thatcher has just made it to Parliamentary Secretary. And this baby, the Mini Cooper, the car that really epitomises the swinging 60s, has just hit the streets. Yep, the Mini is nearly 40 years old.
Well, Rover seem to be working some more miracles. Everybody's talking about the death knell sounding for the Mini over and over again, but emissions laws and safety laws keep on creeping up on it. And Rover just seem to be keeping it ahead of the game. They've done it again. They fitted airbags and side impact beams to the car to keep it alive for a few more years.
I mean, 40 years, and almost 40 years, it's still going strong. That's an amazing track record. You've driven a lot of cars in your job with What Car magazine. What's the appeal of the Mini?
It's all about character these days, really. There's nothing else like it. There probably won't be anything quite like it, although there is supposed to be a new Mini coming out around the year 2000. And it is a design icon. That's what it is these days.
So what have they done with the range here today? We seem to have everything from the very basic original through to some fabulous looking Mini Coopers. Where are they taking it?
Well, they're really making it into a cult car, which is the way it was heading anyway. So now what you've got is just two cars, two platforms on which you can base your ideas and personalise it to your own taste. So you've got either the Cooper, which we're standing with here, or the basic 1.3 car, and you can specify all sorts of options: leather seats, and various stripes and decals down the side, and alloy wheels and sports kits. So you can really personalise your Mini these days.
Well, let's see how it's evolved over the last 40 years. Why don't we take one for a drive and see how it compares on the road with the 90s? Let's take a look under the bonnet.
Okay. There we go.
Wow.
It really is nothing short of amazing, the fact that Rover can actually fit so much in there. What they've done to the 97 model year Mini is to move the radiator to the front. It used to be around at the side slightly. They've also fitted a new engine management system, which helps it meet the latest EU emissions regulations, which come into force on the 1st of January. And also this October there are noise regulations, so it now meets that as well.
How many changes other than that are there to the engine from the original one that would have been bombing around in the 60s?
Very little. It's still an A-series engine, which was original in the Mini.
All right, Steve, your first drive of Mini 97, what are your initial impressions?
Well, actually, to drive, it's not an awful lot different to the old car. It's still just as much fun. You still get that seat of the pants feeling.
Yeah, the old Mini definitely didn't seem to have much inside, did it, in the way of equipment? How have they combated that this time?
Well, there's now a radio as standard.
Wow.
Praise the Lord. And they've also given you the option of specifying a wood dash, the chrome dials and extra dials, and you've got a wonderful chrome gear stick, which we'll have a look at in there in a little while, and chrome door handles and window winders. So it's really taking you back to the 60s ethos of the Mini, what it's all about.
And it comes with a classic 60s tape, does it, I hope?
I would hope so, yes. Yeah, have Van Morrison singing along in there somewhere or something.
So what kind of person drives the Mini? You know, who's going to look at this and think, yeah, it's the car for me?
It's very, very difficult. I mean, in years gone by, it's been a traditional first car for people, but I think you'll also find it now becoming a second car, a fun car for people to buy, as well as still a lot of people buying it for their first cars. But it's a lot more expensive now than it ever was. It's talking about £9,000 for just the basic car. So it has taken it away from the budget car area, which is so hotly contested now with things like the Fiat Cinquecento and the upcoming Ford car, of course. So it's becoming more of an icon, and apparently you're going to have to pay for that.
And of course, the insurance on the Mini, though, is still quite an appealing thing for first-time drivers, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. Running costs are ridiculous. You know, you can work on them yourselves, but as you've seen, the engine is a little bit cramped in there.
Nearly 40 years on and it's still going strong. How much further can Rover take it?
Well, I think that one of the reasons they've done this upgrade is to keep it legal, so to speak, so they can keep selling it. And there is, of course, talk of the year 2000 Mini, which Rover are almost on the verge of confirming, we think. So I think that they're keeping the Mini brand going, trying to enhance the image of the Mini for this new car that will come along at the turn of the decade.
In essence, it's the only classic car that you can actually go into the showroom and still buy today.
That's right, yeah, it is still one of the most famous classic cars. I think Classic and Sports Car voted it the best classic car of all time, and our sister magazine, Autocar, voted it Car of the Century. So you know, to have one of those on your driveway that you can still go out and buy one new with a P plate on it, that's quite something special.
With me now is Fred Coulter, who's Managing Director of the British Motor Industry Heritage Group, and if that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. Okay, Fred, this is your present title, but I believe you were involved not that many years ago with the initial design on the Mini.
Yeah, being very kind. 38 years ago.
Okay, well, you're wearing well. Like the Mini, you see.
Thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Yes, I was involved in the very early days as a wide-eyed, newly qualified engineer working on the development of the front-wheel drive vehicles.
It must have been an incredibly exciting time. I mean, it's easy to look at the Mini today and think, oh yeah, great car, but there's a lot of great cars. But when you look at what was around at the time, did you all know you were onto something really special?
I think when you're lost in the depths of the engineering fraternity, you're not quite sure at that point in time. Yes, of course, it was something very special. It was brand new, it was innovative, full of all the pains that the innovative engineer brings with him.
What kind of problems did you encounter?
Oh, grief, how long have you got?
Briefly.
Oh, everything.
What was the one? What was the nemesis?
Imagine moving from conventional motor cars into a situation where everything all of a sudden is under the bonnet. So we have a gearbox that's under the engine, the front wheels are driven by that same engine, it's swung round through 90 degrees, so it's now no longer north-south as an engine, it's east to west. It brought lots of problems with it, but as an engineer, that's what you enjoy.
We're here at the Heritage Motor Centre to take a look at the Mini 97, and I must say, Patrick, Mini 97 that we've seen outside, this could have been one of them, and I believe this is a very special Mini.
Absolutely, that's right. This is Mini number 1. This was built in 1959 on August the 28th. As you can see, we haven't changed the style very much. In all honesty, it's very difficult to change it without spoiling it, and we didn't want to change something that we consider to be absolutely perfect.
And an awful lot of people, an awful lot of drivers seem to think that as well.
Yes, very much so, very much so.
What kind of person drives a Mini? Who are you aiming at in the 90s?
The sort of person who drives a Mini is looking for something that's very different, who isn't looking for a run-of-the-mill small car. They're very individual, they want to make a statement about themselves, so they're not looking at something that's an ordinary small car, they're looking at something that's completely different to everything else, and that's something that we have in today's Mini. Okay,
so you haven't changed the styling an awful lot, but what are the differences in Mini 97?
Well, the main thing is that we've changed the Mini 97 are the safety features of the car. We've put in a standard driver's airbag, seatbelt pre-tensioners and side impact bars, and we've also improved a whole raft of other minor features in the car, such as having multi-point fuel injection, a new refinement package, and a lot of other minor features such as small revised seats, better ventilation system, and so forth. Really a lot of minor things with the car that really do improve the refinement considerably.
What about the Japanese market? I know the Mini is very popular over there, and looking at the size of it you can understand why.
Well, the sales in Japan support the Mini quite considerably. They account for something like 30 or 40% of Mini sales at the moment. So again, the sort of level of enthusiasm and the level of sales of Mini is very important to us.
Dennis Chick, you're Director of Communications here at Rover. So how does Mini fit into the Rover strategy?
Fits in perfectly. BMW Group now owns Rover Group, as you know, and in buying Rover, BMW bought into basically Rover Cars, the MG Mark, the new sports car, and Land Rover. But we also have Mini, which has become established as a brand in its own right over the years. And that's the way we'll see Mini now going into the future, as a brand within the Rover Cars organisation.